the way into Spain and places like that. Does that prove it? No, but it's interesting to see the language that was used to actually express that. The very next sentence is, unto these men of holy lives was gathered a vast multitude of the elect, who through many indignities and tortures, being the victims of jealousy, set a brave example among ourselves. This term elect keeps popping up all over the place for some reason. Let us fix our eyes, this is section 7, let us fix our eyes on the blood of Christ and understand how precious it is unto his Father, because being shed for our salvation, it won for the whole world the grace of repentance. Now, does that give us an insight into at least some concept of the intention and mechanism of the atonement? One of the things we're going to discover, we have to be careful that we don't assume that the things that are most important to us were necessarily the things that were most important in every other generation in the church. So the great conflicts back then, first of all, they lasted much longer. Communication was much more slow. Today, someone can publish something. I mean, there's a big controversy going on right now. The funny thing is, we're recording this, and I'll bet 20 years from now, this controversy will not be going on. But in the ancient church, 20 years would be a short period of time. The difference being, today, there's a controversy going on. It's a Trinitarian controversy. I'm not sure if any of you have ever heard of it. It's been brewing for a while, but it's blown up just over the past month or so. And it has to do with the ESS or EFS, eternal functional subordinationism or eternal submission of the Son. And there are certain theologians, Bruce Ware, Wayne Grudem, who are teaching that in the Godhead, not in what's called the economic Trinity, which is how Father, Son, and Spirit work to bring about salvation and taking different roles, but actually in their relationship to one another before creation and everything else, that there is an essential submission or subordination of the Son to the Father, a willing submission. And this has become very important to them because they're both very much involved in the defense of complementarianism over against egalitarianism. So what they're saying is the relationship of Father and Son becomes a paradigm for the relationship of man and woman. And it has, like I said, been bubbling for quite some time. I read an excellent article yesterday on my way back from Tucson. Well, please don't worry. That means I listened to it. When I say read, I can just see some of you sitting there and, I saw you on the road going down I-10 yesterday. Sure. From a Reformed Baptist perspective on this subject and what does our confession say. And it was very, very well done. But it's obviously a rather complicated subject. But the point is, since we have the internet, Carl Trueman at Westminster Seminary posts something. Within 3 days, Wayne Grudem and Bruce Ware have posted something. And now Carl Trueman has posted back. In the ancient days, it would take Carl Trueman a month to write the first thing. And then it would take 6 months for it to travel around, and then another month to be responded to, and 6 months for it to get back to Carl Trueman. And so, at the very least, people did not expect rapid development in controversy. They expected it to be something that would be drawn out, well thought out, and I'm not really certain that the internet has helped much, because I don't think that we think any deeper or faster than we did in the past. Maybe a whole lot less in reality. And it makes me wonder if the level of dialogue as a result is significantly less deep than it was in the ancient world. And obviously a lot more people are involved in the conversation now, and we've been taught, that's a good thing. Not necessarily. I'm going to prove how unloving and non-PC I am, but not everyone's opinions and things of religion are equal. Now, if you think that's a terrible, horrible thing to say, you've been deeply influenced by the spirit of this age. There is not a single person who signed their name to London Baptist Confession of Faith who would disagree with what I just said. Not a one. And not a one of them would have understood why it's even a disputable issue. Why do I say that? Well, we all recognize not everyone's opinions when it comes to medicine are equal to everybody else's. And not everyone's opinions when it comes to car repair are equal to everyone else's. But when it comes to religion, we've been taught everyone's opinions are equal. Well, no, they're not. No, they're not. If you've never read the entirety of the Bible, your opinion about the Bible is not nearly as good as someone who spent their entire life studying it. I'm sorry, that's just a fact. And so, the internet opens up the idea that as long as you got a computer, a keyboard, and an internet connection, somehow you get to be in on the conversation. Well, the reality is it just becomes noise and makes it all the more difficult to find the real thoughtful commentary. Let alone the fact that a lot of people are sitting around trying to figure out how to say something extremely witty about the subject in 140 characters. And when it comes to the subject of the internal relationships of Father, Son, and Spirit in eternity past, 140 characters is not enough. But in our day, for a lot of people, they'll make decisions based upon that. It's tragic. It really is. It's just amazing. What's the question? A character is a letter. So 140 letters. That's Twitter. Yeah. So when you tweet, you only have 140 characters, unless you cheat. I cheat all the time, but that's the whole idea. Well, there's things called tweet short, so you can write forever and just